To my selfless Spartan, welcome back. To my good people, join us. Don't buy a house. It is only for the rich, and it is too hard for you. This is what my buddy Berserk was told by his father, and he told his father he too would like to buy a house. Berserk was on the streets since a child, a teenager to be precise. So he had been renting since about 17 years old. He started off renting a boiler room in the back of a karate studio where he had zero privacy. And the landlord would walk in on him and his woman while he was in the karate studio boiler room and just violate him. Berserk rented many, many places, and Berserk was tired of this. He ended up renting another place, and the owner slash landlord was a retired police officer, and she too violated his privacy. Berserk went home with his newly found wife. Berserk went on a trip with his newly found wife to Connecticut to buy a motorcycle, and his landlord went into his home without permission to do whatever she did. Berserk had words with the landlord, said, "You're not the first crooked hero that he has dealt with," and decided that he would give in his notice and leave. Now, Berserk's father was going away to the military for a military exercise for 6 months or what have you. And so Berserk thought, perfect, maybe now that father won't be home, he can stay in their large 2,000 square foot colonial because there will only be one person there, and that's Berserk's mother. When Berserk presented this offer to his father said, "Listen, don't buy a house. It is very hard to buy a house." That's what his father told him. And his father also said, "You staying here to save up while I'm gone," because that was Berserk's whole plan. Berserk wanted to stay somewhere so he could save up to put the down payment on the house because no one gave Berserk a nickel. And no one was going to give Berserk a nickel. So he thought to himself, if I can save instead of paying the rent and paying for someone else's mortgage, he can then save up for his own mortgage. So Berserk's father says, "This is a bad idea." And Berserk's father tells his wife, Berserk's mother, too, "This is a bad idea." Berserk persisted and moved into the basement when his father left, and things didn't work out. Berserk got into a little bit of trouble, and his mother called the police on him just because she wanted him to leave the house. Berserk didn't actually do anything, but his mother was the type to throw him out whenever there was a quarrel. And if Berserk wouldn't leave, then his mother would call the police and make up a story to get the police to throw him out. But that's another story. So Berserk is homeless yet again and panicking. He's sleeping on the streets again. I don't know if any of you know what that feels like, but sleeping on the streets with no destination and no real idea of where you're going to rest today, tomorrow, tonight is very stressful. So he panics and ends up sleeping in a drug den. The owner of the drug den tells Berserk that his girl is forbidden from using the bathroom. The owner of the drug den where Berserk rented a room to avoid homelessness told Berserk that his girlfriend cannot use the bathroom. She is forbidden to use the bathroom. Berserk proceeds to tell the owner where he can go, and things go left. The owner had about a 120-pound pit bull that he would keep with him, so Berserk went to Harbor Freight, bought the $10 machete that they have, and came to address the situation. He only bought the machete for defense because if a pit bull bites and locks on you, what are you really going to do? The owner of the property then, once he realizes Berserk is not scared of him or his pit bull, calls the police on Berserk, and Berserk goes to prison for felony weapons possession. So not only was Berserk thrown out of his mother's house yet again, not only did Berserk become homeless and sleep on the streets yet again, now Berserk was going to prison for protecting his woman. Berserk gets locked up, gets incarcerated, felony weapons possession comes out. Now he can't even go to the property to get his dog out of the property because the landlord slash owner filed protection orders on him. So now his dog is literally trapped in a place and he's not allowed to go there by law. Berserk decides he's still going to go. He goes, gets his dog, almost gets locked up again because the man called the police on him again. The police come, treat Berserk like trash because they assumed that he was the bad, evil person in the situation when he was just a human being trying to protect his dog and his lady. But that goes back to racial profiling. That's another story where heroes undermine the actual description of the word hero. So now we have two sets of crooked heroes in the story. One who violates privacy and one who racially profiles. But it's okay. We'll get through to them. Berserk says, I'm not going to stop with my dream of buying a house. My father said it's hard, don't do it. My mother threw me out to the streets. The police have incarcerated me. I just got a felony weapons possession for protecting my lady. Everything is against him. He says, I'm not stopping. Berserk then continues to, he says he's not going to rent again because it's too difficult. They're doing background checks. It takes too long to get a home. Berserk stays on the streets. He finds a trucker motel for a decent price, cheaper than renting. He then continues in that direction and stays in the trucker motel. While he's in the trucker motel, he is searching for a property. He finds a property, thanks be to God. A 3-bedroom, 1-bath, garage, backyard, fully detached. $100,000. Now the property is in shambles. But Berserk does not care because Berserk has slept on the streets with the roaches. So one man's garbage is another man's treasure. While others saw garbage, Berserk saw a castle and a home where no one can throw him out to the streets again. Berserk persists and moves forward, saves what he can for the down payment, and successfully acquires his first home. To the shock of everyone. Everyone is shocked. No one understands how he did it when he was just homeless. But persistence and faith will grant you freedom. That same property that no one wanted, that same property that people called garbage, his best friend says it's not a house, it's a bungalow. But there is no limit to ignorance. A bungalow is a type of house, is it not? His mother called it a trailer. Nothing but evil, abusive words for Berserk when he overcame homelessness and felony weapons possession, doing a heroic act in protecting his woman. Do you know how much that house is worth now? He bought that house right before COVID, approximately 7 years ago, for $100,000. That house is now appraising at $360,000. That's over $250,000 that a homeless man from the streets has accumulated in a 7-year span due to persistence and faith. One step further, a HELOC is known as a home equity line of credit. So Berserk was then able to pull from the 360,000 that it was worth or is worth, less than 100,000, leaving $260,000 on the table that he can pull out in the form of a credit and do what he will. And you can do this too. To my selfless Spartans, continue to be selfless, and we will see nothing but victory. To my good people, thank you.